Welcome back to the Imaginary Gallery. It's TJ, your host. This is a continuation of the viewer request regarding the Jews. It is the Zionist group, though, that we're discussing here. And again, it's a document that was 100 years old that was found, and it was put within this particular book, Letters to Earth, The Future is Yours by Peter Kling. The object is to disprove what we're told, which is, oh, it's a fictitious document, because so far, seems like it's all coming true. We are still within Protocol number 5 and the next section. Monopoly capital. Capital, if it is to cooperate untrammeled, must be free to establish a monopoly of industry and trade. This is already being put in execution by an unseen hand in all quarters of the world. This freedom will give political force to those entangled in industry, and that will help them to oppress the people. Nowadays, it's more important to disarm the people than to lead them into war. More important to use for our advantage the passions which we have burst into flames than to quench their fire. More important to eradicate them. The principal object of our directorative consists in this: to debilitate the public mind by criticism, to lead it away from serious reflection calculated to arouse resistance, to distract the forces of the mind towards a sham fight of empty eloquence. In order to put public opinion into our hands, we must bring it into a state of bewilderment by giving expression from all sides to so many contradictory opinions, and for such length of time as will suffice to make the Goyim lose their heads in the labyrinth and come to see that the best thing is to have no opinion of any kind in matters political, which it is not given to the public to understand, because they are understood only by him who guides the public. This is the first secret. The second secret requisite for the success of our government is comprised in the following: to multiply to such an extent national failing, habits, passion, conditions of civil life, that it will be impossible for anyone to know where he is in the resulting chaos, so that the people in consequence will fail to understand one another. This measure will also serve us in another way, namely to sow discord in all parties, to dislocate all collective forces which are still unwilling to submit to us, and to discourage any kind of personal initiative which might in any degree hinder our affair. We must so direct the education of the Goyim communities that whenever they come upon a matter requiring initiative, they may drop their hands in despairing impotence. The strain which results from freedom of action saps the forces when it meets with the freedom of another. From this collision arise grave moral shocks, disenchantments, failures. By all these means we shall so wear down the Goyim that they will be compelled to offer us international power of a nature that by its position will enable us without any violence gradually to absorb all the state forces of the world and to form a super government. In place of the rulers of today, we shall set up a bogey which will be called the super government administration. Its hands will reach out in all directions like nippers, and its organization will be of such colossal dimensions that it cannot fail to subdue all nations of the world. Protocol number 6. We shall soon begin to establish huge monopolies, reservoirs of colossal riches upon which even large fortunes of the Goyim will depend to such an extent that they will go to the bottom together with the credit of the states on the day after the political smash. The aristocracy of the Goyim as political force is dead. We need not take it into account. But as landed proprietors, they can still be harmful to us from the fact that they are self-sufficing in the resources upon which they live. It is essential, therefore, for us, at whatever cost, to deprive them of their land. California. This object will be best attained by increasing the burdens upon landed property, in loading lands with debt. These measures will check landholding and keep it in a state of humble and unconditional submission. We shall enslave Gentiles. At the same time, we must intensively patronize trade and industry, but first and foremost, speculation, the part played by which is to provide a counterpoise to industry. The absence of speculative industry will multiply capital in private hands and will serve to restore agriculture by freeing the land from indebtedness to the land banks. What we want is that industry should drain off from the land both labor and capital, and by means of speculation transfer into our hands all the money of the world, and thereby throw all the Goyim into the ranks of the proletariat. Then the Goyim will bow down before us, if for no other reason but to get the right to exist. To complete the ruin of the industry of the Goyim, we shall bring to the assistance of speculation the luxury which we have developed among the Goyim, that greedy demand for luxury which is swallowing up everything. We shall raise the rate of wages, which, however, will not bring any advantage to the workers, for at the same time we shall produce a rise in prices of the necessities of life, alleging that it arises from the decline of agriculture and cattle breeding. We shall further undermine artfully and deeply sources of production by accustoming the workers to anarchy and to drunkenness, and side by side therewith taking all measure to extirpate from the face of the earth all the educated forces of the Goyim. Protocol number 7. The intensification of armaments, the increase of police forces are all essential for the completion of the aforementioned plans. What we have to get at is that there should be in all states of the world besides ourselves only the masses of the proletariat, a few millionaires devoted to our interests, police and soldiers. Throughout all Europe, and by means of relations with Europe, in other continents also, we must create ferments, discords, and hostility. Therein we gain a double advantage. In the first place, we keep in check all countries, for they will know that we have the power whenever we like to create disorders or to restore order. All these countries are accustomed to see in us an indispensable force of coercion. In the second place, by our intrigues we shall tangle up all the threads which we have stretched into the cabinets of all states by means of the political, by economic treaties or loan obligations. In order to succeed in this, we must use great cunning and penetration during negotiations and agreements, but as regards what is called the official language, we shall keep to the opposite tactics and assume the mask of honesty and complacency. In this way, the peoples and governments of the Goyim, whom we have taught to look only at the outside whatever we present to their notice, will still continue to accept us as the benefactors and saviors of the human race. Universal war. We must be in a position to respond to every act of opposition by war with the neighbors of that country which dares to oppose us. But if these neighbors should venture to stand collectively together against us, then we must offer resistance by a universal war. We must compel the governments of the Goyim to take action in the direction favored by our widely conceived plan, already approaching the desired consummation, by what we shall represent as public opinion, secretly promoted by us through the means of that so-called great power, the press, which, with a few exceptions that may be disregarded, is already entirely in our hands. In a word, to sum up our system of keeping the governments of the Goyim in Europe in check, we shall show our strength to one of them by terrorist attempts, and to all, if we allow the possibility of a general rising against us, we shall respond with the guns of America, or China, or Japan.
I am the most beautiful narcopath ever. I've got to give you some more uncomfortable confessions, but I know the rules. Personally, I don't follow the rules, but I'm being forced to against my will. Don't worry, people will pay for what I've had to go through.
I'm pretty sure you probably wanted to know after I told you how much I loved you. But then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, right after our vacation together, I told you I was leaving. Didn't give you much explanation. You were worried about it. Calling day and night, I reported you to the police for harassment. Didn't tell them what I did. I just said that you're some crazy person who keeps calling. They scared you, didn't they? Got you out of my hair. You saw I soon was married just a few weeks later. I found true love, is what I told everyone. And then someone had the nerve to put on social media that I was divorced and tried to ruin my name. Well, you couldn't help but notice. I told him he cheated and he lied. I left him. That's not the truth, though, and I know that you know that. You've been asking around, I've heard. You've heard all kinds of different versions of the story. So I'm here to straighten it out for you. The truth is, he was dying of a disease.
Stick to the facts.
Okay, fine. You're gonna keep me honest, aren't you? Fine. The truth was, this person had money. This person had resources I could use. I'd used up most of yours. Who cares if I told you I loved you? Those are just words I use and they work every time. I found my new boy, and I met him on an ad. Personal ad. Back page. Trafficking. Sex trafficking.
Stick to the truth.
Just kidding. Oh, fine. We met dating site. I quickly took inventory and he was worth it. Problem was, he was smarter than I thought. So I was on social media posing with him like I was so happy and trying to rub in everybody's face that wronged me, or rather that I wronged, to show them how happy I was without him. In this case, after a few weeks, he got into my iPad, which was none of his business to look at. And he had the nerve to look through it and see that I was making dates on those nights I told him I had to work late, even though I didn't have a job. And he figured out the whole thing, and he actually took his own calendar of events and compared it to mine and saw all these different things I couldn't explain my way out of. Usually I can make up a lie and get away with it because I know how to, what you call, gaslight people and make them feel guilty. Like if I stole something and told them I didn't and they found out I did and I can't avoid admitting it, well then I'll just say,
Well, I was beaten up as a child. That's why I did it. You wouldn't understand.
And that usually works, but didn't work on this one. He said he was beaten to a pulp as a child, and it didn't turn out like that. I had to escape. It wasn't going to work because he figured me out too soon. So you weren't missing out on nothing. I was pulling the same old tricks, projecting onto him like if I was out all night, and then I came home and he came home, I'd say, "Where have you been? Where have you been? What have you been doing? You must have been cheating, weren't you?" Which was giving myself away. Problem is he picked up on that, and I had nothing left to say, so I had to say ta-ta to him. Fine, yes, he's the one who dumped me officially, but that doesn't matter. Most people don't need to know that. Understand? Good. You feel better now? Face it, anyone I'm with, it's gonna be the same way. It's just a game. It's me wearing a mask the whole time, trying to look just like the person I'm pursuing. Eventually they catch on, as they always do, and they start to accuse me of lying, accuse me of doing this and doing that, and I think, oh, would you just believe what I say and stop questioning things? And you sound like a conspiracy theorist, retarded. They always seem to figure me out, but it's not my problem. There's something wrong with them, because it would have lasted forever if you just wouldn't check up on me. Same with you. What is it with you people? Why are you so nosy? Just accept what the woman says. Don't question things. Don't look into things. There's no need. It'll just get you into trouble and disappointed. That'd be a lesson to you.
Oh, I might as well tell you as well. You know how sometimes we fall on hard times. Well, after I used up all the money I took from you and the next guy, I found myself strapped for cash.
I happened to notice that the local church down the street was having a talent contest. $500 prize. First prize. I knew that was easy for me. I'd make it first place. Didn't matter what I had to do, because I'm the best at everything. So I decided to do a performance there at the church. I made an audition tape prior, so I could practice. I thought I'd let you see it. See what you think about it.
All you ladies pop your pussy like this. Shake your body, don't stop, don't quit. All you ladies pop that pussy like this. Shake your body, don't stop, don't quit. Just do it, do it, do it, do it, do it now. Lick it good, suck this pussy just like you should right now. Lick it good, suck this pussy just like you should.
My neck, my back, suck my pussy and my crack. My neck, my back, lick my pussy and my crack. My neck, my back, lick my pussy just like that. My neck, my back, lick my pussy, crack is whack. But you gotta put your neck into it. Don't stop, just do it, do it. Then you roll your tongue from the back to the front and yeah, lick a Virginia.